Welcome back to this edition of FPD Roll Call. Today's show, we're going to be talking with two guests that I have, Robert Smith and Norman Currington, and then later on in the show, I'm going to be discussing the May crime stats. So on today's show, like I said, Norm Currington and Robert Smith. Norm Currington is a very integral part of our Neighborhood Watch program, and I want to talk to him a little bit about our Neighborhood Watch program. And first of all, I want to thank you, Norm and Robert, for joining me today. Sure. Norm, can you tell the audience how important Neighborhood Watch in the community is?
One of the things that we found is that Neighborhood Watch probably provides the eyes and ears of the neighborhood to the police department, because our ability to spot things that are suspicious to us is much more predominant than what the police department know about. And so when things are unusual in the neighborhood and we think that the police ought to be involved, then we are the people who attempt to alert the police and bring them into the situation and let them investigate what the problems might be.
Yeah, and kind of how I speak at some of the meetings and the trainings is, you know, when you get that gut feeling, something just may not be right, and then just kind of some common sense stuff that you really just put together and you use in your neighborhood.
Right. Most people know things that are going on in the neighborhood that are normal. And then when something unusual does occur, then they can bring the police in and let the police investigate what the problem potentially is.
Right, and that's a key element, is that when we have the neighbors, our eyes and ears as for the police department, that's huge, because as people know, when you know the officers are driving around in the big white police car, crime's not happening right in front of them. So we have to have your eyes and ears and the help of the citizens to really call on something suspicious that we're not aware of going on. So for that, we appreciate the activeness of our Neighborhood Watch. And also, don't you agree that it is a very great way to get to know your neighbors?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've found in my neighborhood is that there are people who are interested in getting to know the neighborhood and getting involved with other people. But in today's world and in today's culture and society, that type of thing is probably taking a back seat, whereas when I was growing up as a child, I remember we were outdoors all the time. And that's not happening as much anymore, but it's still an essential part of forming the neighborhood nucleus and then growing that so that you know who your neighbors are and what their needs are, and can offer some assistance at times when things occur that otherwise might get ignored.
Yeah, and you know, I like to kind of use the pun as, it's not a nosy neighbor, it's really the concerned citizen or the concerned resident that just happens to see something that sticks out. I can tell you from experience, and I know the Neighborhood Watch members have said this as well, we all know our neighbors' vehicles that they drive. We typically know the time when they come home from work, or if they have kids or whatnot. So when you see that car that's parked in front of your house or their house that you've never seen before, it's just something that, you know, kind of perks up our antennas, and we either maybe jot down the plate, or we can you know, nowadays cell phones, just take a quick snapshot, maybe even text your neighbor, because I can tell you through Neighborhood Watch, a lot of these neighbors, whether they're on Facebook together as a group in a neighborhood or they're friends on Facebook, hey, do you have a family over? Do you got somebody working on the sink or something like that? So it's very good to have that stability to know that your neighbors are watching out for you.
Sure. One of the things you even get to know is when the neighborhood dog barks. You begin to expect or anticipate that at a certain time of the day or night, that dog is going to be outside, and when that dog barks, something unusual is happening. And you begin to become alert to those types of things.
Another thing I found that is if that dog is barking, that you know that neighbor well enough now that you can go over and tell that person to bring that dog in if they're bothering you. So that's kind of another thing that I've seen. So I think that's a really good point that you made. I also want to touch on the resident camera program that the city of Florissant has. The resident camera program is a great program that we offer our citizens, and we want them to feel comfortable enough to let the investigators notify the investigators if there's a crime in the area and they might have captured it on their home security surveillance system. We're not asking for to take over your camera system or your computer or anything. We're just simply, what we have is a log of information that that it's a voluntary sign up. You go onto the website, our City of Florissant website, you sign up for it, and it's just basically an agreement saying that if an investigator knocks on your door, that you would be happy to show them any type of information that you may have relative to the time and the date that the investigator is asking about. And it's completely voluntary. You can do it if you like, or you don't have to. You can change your mind at any time. But I know you have cameras at your residence, and have you been able to capture anything?
On 2 different occasions, actually. Once last year, there was some shots fired in the neighborhood, startled us, but after I went back and checked on my the recording on the camera, we did find that there were some images of kids running in the neighborhood at 3:30 in the morning. So that was captured, and I called the police and turned that information over to them for their investigation. And then just recently, I had a car drive into my house, and that information was captured on film. It picked up the car coming up the lawn and then driving into my garage and garage door. And so that type of information was very helpful to me as well as to the police.
Yeah, and then even insurance and whatnot. So I can tell you the importance, if you want to register your camera, that's a great way to help the investigators help solve crime in the city. And you know, also, if there's nothing better than video. It's you know, it's the old adage is it's red-handed. It's, you know, like in the case where you're crashed into your home, you saw the person driving, saw the person, you know, exit the vehicle, so you know there's nothing to
Yeah, it's all right there.
It's all right there.
There.
Yeah, so I also want to thank you for that. I also want to touch base on a couple programs that you came up with in the Neighborhood Watch, and one of them is just as simple as turning on your front porch light in the evening.
One of the things that we have found is that turning the porch lights on and leaving those lights burn all night is a really very inexpensive way of brightening up the neighborhood and just telling people that you're a diligent individual and wanting the neighborhood to be aware of any activities that might be taking place. Plus, it adds a safety feature to the home. If you don't have your lights on and you're trying to walk around at night or take the trash out or do something like that, it can be a hazardous event. And so just leaving your lights on really does perk up things in the neighborhood. I know the police department likes it, as well as there's all kinds of lights that you can install, motion activated lights now, that make it easy to provide a way of keeping an eye on the neighborhood for you.
And it's as simple as it's an expensive bulb, so now, or it might be a little bit more expensive bulb, I should say, but it's an easy way to kind of energy saver with these new LED bulbs. So that's a great thing that you came up with, and it's just as simple as flicking the switch in the evening time and letting people know that, you know, I'm home and there's visibility outside. So that's great. Another one that you came up with, and these were flyers, were just common sense is that let's not leave our car running during the winter hours warming up.
One of the things that we've done in Florissant is follow some of the statistics, and it's very interesting to see how residents in Florissant typically like to warm up their cars in the morning during the cold months and even cool their cars down in the summer months. And they go out and start their cars, go back in the house, leave the car in the driveway, motor running, and all a thief has to do is walk in, walk to the car, open the door, get in, and drive it off. And it happens frequently. Yeah. And so it's a simple thing just to make sure if you're going to start your car, then take keys with you so that it's not unlocked at the time that someone can get to it.
Yeah, simple as a remote start, or you know, sit in the car for a few minutes. But yeah, as far as the heat, like we're having this week, you know, and throughout the summer, You know, we just want to make sure it's difficult getting into a hot car, but still, we have to take the opportunity away from the criminal. Yeah. That's the thing is we have to cut the opportunity out of the equation, and with no opportunity, no crime will occur. And that's what we're hoping for, and that's just kind of the basis, the bottom line of how this works. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking about the Neighborhood Watch. I want to encourage everyone to go online and sign up. It's on our City of Florissant website. It'll take you less than a minute to sign up. It's an automated form. You hit submit, and it goes directly to the Neighborhood Watch volunteer in your ward. So I'm going to move on and talk with Robert Smith, who is also a member of Neighborhood Watch. He's a ward captain. He's an emergency management commissioner for the City of Florissant, which is appointed by the mayor, and he's also very active with CERT. So tell me a little about your role at CERT and as a commissioner.
CERT itself, it's a FEMA program, and it's 8 weeks where they teach you light medical, little search and rescue, fire suppression, and basic working together as a group to set up a little triage in the event of a major disaster. So we do this training once a year here in Florissant. We are trying to work with another CERT group in the area to maybe get it at Flow Valley here soon. As far as the Emergency Management Commission, like I said, it's a city commission which we are appointed by the mayor, and what we do is we oversee the CERT program, but we also work with the police and fire department. We also make sure that if there is a major disaster in the city, that there's cooling shelters, warming shelters, and things like that where we can help the city out.
So for instance, if electric goes out in the city and it's one of those cold months, or even one of these hot months, and the city decides to put on a heating or cooling shelter, what would your role be if let's say I was to call you and ask for some volunteers or some help? What kind of role would you play in that?
I would then make a phone call to the other commissioners. There are 9 commissioners that are on the Emergency Management Commission. We would then go to either the Egan Center or JFK, and we would help assist with checking people in, assisting them with, getting food or drinks, things of that sort. So if, let's say another organization would come in like Red Cross or Salvation Army, something like that, we would also be able to assist them with putting together the shelters.
So what is the importance of disaster preparedness as far as, we all know that the police department could, obviously if a tornado or something was to happen, something catastrophic, we would need volunteers, and I know the CERT members and the emergency management commissioners would be willing to help. What do you think the preparedness part of it is? How important do you feel that is?
That's very important. We keep pushing trying to get more people involved and taking the course, because if a major disaster happens in the city of Florissant, there's only so many police and so many fire, first responders for that. We would step in and take over as far as helping individuals that are injured or hurt until a police or a fireman could get there. But being prepared, that's one of the major things that we push, as far as making sure that you have enough, let's say, medication, that you have plenty of water, that you have a backup plan as far as if you had to leave, the city, that someone knew where you were. We also, like I said, we would assist with keeping track of where people are. If they're injured, they have to go to the hospital and a loved one is looking for them. Well, we've got the address, know where they are, so that they, don't worry about them. But, being prepared, we really push that, because there's over 50,000 people in Florissant, and there's no way that our first responders can cover all those areas.
Yeah, and that's something that is also taught in the CERT class, and the CERT class that we're looking for, the next CERT class is most likely going to be in next February of 19, and we got some pretty cool things happening with the CERT class that we're going to be having in 2019. But that a lot of that preparedness, they're also the CERT students are also given some supplies to help them with their prep.
Yes, they're issued a backpack, and in the backpack you receive a flashlight. You also receive a vest. It's most of the time they're this color with the fluorescent or the orange. A helmet. You're also issued a multi-tool, which the tool is used to turn off the gas. If there's a disaster, like I said, tornado, earthquake, gas line ruptures, well, we're taught how to properly shut the gas off, how to go in and properly shut off the electric in the house. You also have a first aid kit so that you can administer, if need be, basic first aid of band-aids or wrapping and setting it so that way if you have a broken arm or something, so that way it's not continually being moved. But everyone is issued a backpack and an ID, and that way when you show up to wherever the meeting location is or activation location, you give them the ID that says that you're certified in CERT and that you can assist with the search and rescue and the medical and the fire suppression.
Yeah, and that's all trained at the CERT class that we'll be holding in February. So with this equipment, we give out the equipment to the residents that are interested in the training. So they are taught how to use the stuff. They are taught how to turn the gas off. They are taught basic triage, so to speak, of medical and the electric. A lot of the stuff is gone over, so these people aren't just going in blind. They do have to pass this class, and there is a certificate that they get. So stay tuned for our class in February. And on that note, I kind of want to also say that the fire department, the Florissant Valley Fire Department, has really stepped up and wants to take a bigger role, and they're offering trainings throughout I guess some weekend trainings and whatnot. What kind of stuff are they talking about?
We just completed last month a training on how to properly cut logs and clear the logs out of the road. If a branch falls down into the road, how to properly cut it and use a chainsaw. We will have a training in July on CPR, and we are working on getting another training for it's called Stop the Bleed, how to properly use a tourniquet. So the fire department has stepped up and kind of taken us under the wing, and they're helping us with the training of the CERT members, so that way they stay current on all the training, so that if something does happen, it's not like I got to try to remember. You're keeping your hands on constantly.
Yeah, so another thing that the CERT members do on kind of the police level is, I would teach a class in reference to, for how to, crowd control or just kind of traffic control, and we're not talking interstate or nothing like that. We're talking, during events, Valley of Flowers or the Fall Festival, stuff like that. These smaller parades, but yet bigger to our city on just a smaller scale. So you're not really putting you guys in harm's way, but it's really a great way to utilize the CERT members as volunteers for the Florissant Police Department and the Fire Department. So the crossover between the Florissant Fire and the police is really cool to see how that's working. And like I said, we'll have trainings at the CERT class in February with me as talking about the traffic control or just kind of things to do, things to look for, the safety stuff aspect of it. And then again, the fire department will have, I guess, the more hands-on, kind of the more
medical,
yes, and stuff like that. So that's a really cool program, and I think a lot of people are interested. And we're going to have links at the end of the show so you can see how to go about getting registered for all that kind of stuff. Another thing is you're a big advocate for Neighborhood Watch as well, along with Norm. So do you think there's how much crossover do you think there is with the CERT and the Neighborhood Watch, and is there a need for that?
I believe there is. I believe that the crossover can happen because if there's a disaster, let's say in Florissant, the Neighborhood Watch members know their neighbors. So they know if there's a disabled person on their block or an elderly person on their block, and if they would need to be looked after, so that if something happens, they can let the CERT members know, hey, we need, there's a couple of houses over here that, if you guys could search just to make sure that, this individual is okay, and if there is something wrong, to administer, first aid if need be. But I think that the coordination between Neighborhood Watch and CERT is something that, Florissant could really utilize, because we could communicate with each other, and like I said, if something happens, the more people that are out to assist, the better it is for.
Norm, do you have any thoughts on that at all?
Well, Robert and I have worked together and talk about this frequently, of how we coordinate activities among the two organizations. And being active in both organizations, we see the need of having the community come together in events such as we're talking about here, and how the people who really know that neighborhood are the ones who can be in the best position to notify authorities, as well as to direct specific needs for that neighborhood. So the two programs function very closely with.
Yeah, I like that idea of the specific needs aspect of it, because nobody knows the neighborhood like the people that are living there, and we all know that Florissant has it's a great community for senior citizens, and so we know that if we have a senior citizen on that block, that maybe that person might rely on other people to get around. That's very helpful to a first responder. That would be, so I really see the need for that, and that's something that obviously we take serious and we look at. So Robert, how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in the CERT program?
There's two ways you can get a hold, or actually three. You can send an email to emc@florissantmo.com. You can also send an email to me at flocomw4@gmail.com. That's Flowcom Ward 4. You can get a hold of Officer Michael here, and he can also direct you to either signing up for the CERT course or Neighborhood Watch. But there's several ways of getting a hold of us, and we would love to have more individuals in the city, sign up.
Yeah, it's a great program. The Neighborhood Watch CERT, it's a great program to get involved in your community. It doesn't ask a lot of you, and the CERT is just basic training that is helpful for anybody. Exactly. And the Neighborhood Watch is just as easy as enjoying the outside, sitting in your garage and just watching the birds. And if you see something suspicious, you call it in. Yeah, we don't ask much of the residents to do anything out of the ordinary. If you're interested in the Neighborhood Watch program, contact me at the police department, 314-830-6042. You can go online and sign up under Neighborhood Watch program, sign up. The CERT program, I can be reached. I'm available for all this information is at your fingertips. So just call me with any questions, and I can point you in the right direction. I can get you signed up and registered. Like I said, we're going to be having a CERT class coming up in February, and you'll be seeing that. So stay tuned to social media for some of that information, and our website as well. Norm and Robert, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. It means a lot to show the interest that you guys have in our city. So once again, thank you for taking time out of your day to come and explain the important roles that you guys take part in our city. Sure. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm now going to talk about the May 2018 crime report. There were 3 robberies in the month of May. May 11th, the 1800 block of Parker. May 14th, 1100 block of Graham. and May 18th, the 13,000 block of New Halls Ferry Road. There were 16 burglaries during the month of May. May 8th, the first block of Grandview. May 11th, the 1400 block of Malamphy. May 14th, the first block of Calbreth. May 16th, the first block of Sunridge. May 20th, the first block of Flower Ridge. May 21st, the 1100 block of Hallwood. May 21st, 800 block of Lokey's. May 23rd, the 400 block of Durwood. May 24th, the first block of Sunridge. May 23rd, the 100 block of St. Madeleine. May 26th, 800 block of Gladiola. May 27th, 1000 block of Kevin. May 28th, the 1000 block of Kevin. May 25th, the 900 block of Lokey's. There were 9 motor vehicle thefts during the month of May. May 2nd, the 1800 block of Notting Hill Row. May 6th, the 2100 block of US 67. May 6th, 500 block of Durwood. May 13th, the first block of Redwood. May 14th, 1100 block of Graham Road. May 15th, the 2300 block of Sukasa. May 15th, the first block of Radford. May 18th, the 1700 block of Woodridge. May 18th, the 3100 block of Santiago. There were 86 stealings during the month of May, 32 shoplifting, 20 from motor vehicle, 9 motor vehicle parts, 1 bicycle, 6 from buildings, and 18 others. There was a total of 24 property damages during the month of May. You may have noticed the sign behind me, the Neighborhood Watch sign. We have those for our Neighborhood Watch. You can get one of these signs if we can get at least half of your block signed up in Neighborhood Watch. And this is an encouragement to sign up for Neighborhood Watch. If we can get a nice sized group on your street, we can get you one of these signs on your street. It's letting people know that your street is part of Neighborhood Watch, and you're not going to tolerate anything out of the ordinary. So contact me to get your sign. I want to thank my guests on the show today, Norm Currington and Robert Smith. Both of these residents are very active in our community, and from the police department, we just appreciate their involvement and their commitment to a safer city. So again, thank you for that. If you want to register for Neighborhood Watch or our CERT program, please reach out to me at my email address or a phone number, 314-830-6042. I can get you registered, I can get you signed up. It's very simple. You can also go online with our Neighborhood Watch program, as well as CERT. The application for CERT is online, and the Neighborhood Watch program has a sign-up sheet online, and it will take you less than a minute to do. It's very, very easy. Our resident camera program, we touched on that during the show. I want to stress that it's a very critical aspect of for our investigators. If you're willing to take the time to get these surveillance systems on your residents, you can really play an integral part with the police department. You can partner with us, and if anything happens in your area, just you can reach out to us, or we can reach out to you. It just takes a second. You can register that online. Matter of fact, it's on the bottom of the Neighborhood Watch application. You can just check a few boxes and you can sign up for the resident camera program. Once again, it's voluntary. We're not taking over anybody's computer or anybody's surveillance system. It's just a voluntary program that we're just asking our residents for help with. Also, one last thing, our vacation check. If you're going out of town anytime during the summer, you can go online. Again, all this information is online. You can fill out a vacation check form, and what that is that form will be directly submitted to the police department, and it is disseminated within the police department to the officers working your area, your location, or your residence. And the officers, once they get that information, and you're out of town, they respond over to your residence. They just check the residence, make sure nothing's out of the ordinary. Make sure you didn't leave a door open. Make sure that the windows are not broken. It's a very good program. We've had a lot of success with it as far as the people like it. We've had a lot of great feedback. So we encourage you guys to go online and just go on the police department's website or the City of Florissant website and just look at some of these forms. Search these forms that I've spoke of. There's a lot of great programs through the city that you can really help make Florissant a safer city. So we just encourage you guys to do that. And once again, you can always call me or email me, and I will I can give you guys any of the information and help you, point you in the right direction. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.